Hey, I'm Mike Gilliam in the CUNY TV studios in the shadow of the Empire State Building in New York City. Welcome to a very special Black History Month edition of Let It Rip. It is Black History Month, and we want to take a look at black media, where it stands, how it's changed, why many believe it's shrinking to the detriment of the African American community, and what lies ahead. One case involving African Americans and the media, brought by entrepreneur and former comedian Byron Allen, has made its way all the way to the Supreme Court and could have ramifications not only for the cable industry and content creators, but anyone who might need to file a discrimination lawsuit in the future. Here's the background. Byron Allen, who started out as a comedian, is now worth in excess of $400 million. He owns television stations, websites, and a number of cable TV channels and other properties. But it is getting his cable networks carried by Comcast on its cable system that has led to the court battle. And that battle could impact civil rights cases for everyone for years to come. And I mean everyone who might face any form of discrimination. Allen, who's 58, filed a $20 billion lawsuit against Comcast, the nation's largest cable company, saying they violated the Civil Rights Act of 1866. The nation's oldest federal civil rights law gives all persons the same right enjoyed by white citizens to make and enforce contracts and sue. But the Supreme Court is not looking at that aspect of the case. The justices are expected to rule on the standard for proving racial discrimination that could be problematic. They're looking to decide whether a person like Mr. Allen must make the case that racial discrimination was the main factor, not just a contributing factor in bringing a discrimination case. Here to dive into the topic and also the shrinking number of black media outlets, we have Milton Alamati, the founder of Black Star News and an adjunct professor of African history at John Jay College of Criminal Justice here at CUNY. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
What do you think about the case, Milton?
Well, I actually support the case. I think if you look at the media environment right now, particularly since 1996, when the FCC really relaxed the rules of media ownership, and that's when particularly we saw the tremendous shrinking of the market. Before that, there were possibilities that because the FCC thought it was important to diversify broadcast media ownership so that blacks, Latinos could actually come together, secure some funding, and know that they will be able to get the support to grow their broadcast media. But since then, we've seen all this consolidation. So then what is the alternative? Are we going to allow black-owned, Latino-owned media to completely evaporate and just disappear, and people from outside the communities get to set the tone of the narrative, select which stories need to be highlighted, and that's from the news aspect. And then from a business, commercial, economic aspect, we know that media is one of the hugest industries in this country. It employs thousands of people. So we are going to miss out on getting to shape the narrative, number one, and then owning a chunk of the large business as a sizable part of the entire U.S. economy. So that's why I support this lawsuit. If it's as he's alleged, he had an agreement for Comcast to carry 6 of his programs, and then Comcast has not fulfilled that agreement. And he says he believes it's because Comcast thinks now it's not really obligated to honor that commitment, because in 2010, I believe, was the year when Comcast secured approval to acquire NBC Universal. And as part to secure that agreement, it negotiated with major black national organizations like the Urban League, like National Action Network, NAACP. And
he called that a sham agreement.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's saying because they had that deal with those organizations, and because Comcast donates to those organizations, that agreement provides Comcast with political cover. So Comcast now feels that so long as our back is covered, so to speak, we don't need to honor our agreement, and we don't need to be serious about the 4 black-owned networks that we had promised to launch anyway. They have been launched, but even Sean Combs, P. Diddy, who is an owner of one of those 4 outlets, has now come out publicly.
I have a statement here from P. Diddy, though, on this subject. Okay, let me just read that for a quick second here. First, it's important that people really understand what's at stake. In its efforts to get the lawsuit filed by Byron Allen dismissed, Comcast has taken a legal approach that could weaken fundamental civil rights protections. I have a problem with this. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 1981, was designed to ensure black people are able to do business in this country and not be denied because of race. Our relationship with Comcast is an illusion of economic inclusion.
I think that to me sums it up. And then one other important aspect. Comcast told the New York Times in an interview that it spent $13.2 billion in programming last year. But then it would not tell the New York Times what percentage of that $13.2 billion went to black-owned networks. And I think that says a lot about Comcast's true intentions. And
I was going to say, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that Comcast is actually willing to allow this lawsuit to go all the way to the Supreme Court because it's reading this. We are operating in an environment where we have a reactionary white supremacist as president in the White House, and we have a conservative Supreme Court. Comcast thinks it has nothing to lose, and now it's made Byron Allen look like the bad person who's jeopardizing 1866 law.
Now, one of the things that Byron Allen is saying is that Comcast carries white-owned channels with similar-sized audiences. So why didn't they choose to take his case?
I think her name is Paula Madison, who was the chief diversity officer at Comcast and played a role in shaping this agreement with the national civil rights organizations to allow Comcast to buy NBC Universal. Herself has said that the way she looks at it is that Comcast said they want black media owned outlets, we'll give it to them, and that's it. But did not take the further step which is needed, which is to invest and make sure that it actually thrives.
Yeah, so she used to work for Comcast, and in fact now it owns the Africa Channel.
Correct.
Now, what Comcast says is that they believe that the civil rights laws are an essential tool for protecting the rights of African Americans and other diverse communities, and we do not want to see them changed or weakened in any way. This case will not do that, but a lot of people beg to differ with that take.
Well, I think that is a very cynical statement coming from the entity that is making that statement. In fact, I would go farther to say it's unconscionable to believe that they would put out a statement like that, because you should evaluate 1866. We're emerging after the era of enslavement of Africans in this country. Those laws were set up to rectify the dispossession, the crimes that occurred during the enslavement regime. And you are saying that a black person, Byron Allen, is threatening that law, when in fact you are risking that law by taking this case all the way to Supreme Court, because you know the political environment in which you're working in today. So I think, in fact, they owe the public an apology for that statement, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah. And if it were to affect discrimination suits, that would affect everyone, whether it be LGBTQ community, whether it be religious discrimination, whatever discrimination would be affected by that.
Absolutely. So I think we shouldn't let Comcast use that as a scare tactic to undermine Byron Allen's lawsuit.
Yeah, now this got Scott Stringer, the comptroller for New York City's attention as well. And I got to tell you, Stringer oversees the New York City pension funds. They have 9 million Comcast shares worth $423 million. And he is saying to them, hey, hold on here. You're messing with civil rights. In a statement, he says, there is significant potential for enduring damage to Comcast's brand and reputation, as well as its relationships with shareholders, customers, suppliers, and federal, state, and local governments. The company's name becomes synonymous with a court decision that impedes civil rights. That's what he wrote to Comcast billionaire chairman and CEO Brian Roberts in a letter.
I support that statement wholeheartedly, and I thank him for making that stand. And I hope other managers of major investment funds, such as Mr. Stringer, come out and make similar statements. Managers in other cities, comptrollers in other cities, I hope they take that same line as well. I think it's absolutely appropriate line to take and endorse that statement totally.
I remember back in the early days of BET when it was owned by Johnson.
Right.
Very difficult to get news. They could do a very small amount of news there. Right. I used to work there.
Right.
I used to do things there when he owned it.
Right.
And you just couldn't get a lot on there. They had to do a lot of music videos and that sort of thing because they just didn't have the revenue.
Right. They didn't have the revenue, and I think that's very unfair. I mean, they should have been able to do more news, but it means they would have seen it as sacrificing revenues. They shouldn't be put in that kind of situation, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. The other media outlets don't have that challenge, so they can afford to have some entertainment and significant news. And the news, it's because they're basically monopolizing the available corporate advertising universe. So that's why if it's dictated only by decisions made by individuals as to where dollars are going to be placed in terms of advertising, I don't think we'll ever see any difference, particularly since 1996 when the laws, the FCC rules regarding corporate broadcast media ownership were significantly relaxed.
Mm-hmm. So I think that if in fact the dollars were put into some of these companies, you might increase the news coverage of our communities and give us voice.
Absolutely. We would be able to afford to.
And put our journalists to work, too.
Absolutely.
Milton, thank you. It's a good discussion of a topic with lots of ramifications for our entire being here.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I'd like to thank Milton Alamati, the founder of Black Star News and an adjunct professor of African history at John Jay College of Criminal Justice here at CUNY. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at the ever-shrinking world of black media. This is Let It Rip.
You're watching CUNY TV, the City University of New York.
Welcome back to this special Black History Month edition of Let It Rip. I'm Mike Gilliam. We're focusing on minority-owned media and the challenges various companies face. At a time where many believe our communities are under attack, there are fewer and fewer places to get information with the perspective we need to protect our interests. For the most part, traditional black media is shrinking. That means opportunities are disappearing. Why, and what does the future hold? Joining me now is the CEO of MefEater Magazine, Gabrielle Amani, and Tony Thompson, a vice president of A&R for MWYE, a Canadian-based entertainment company. Welcome to Let It Rip. Now, you both work in the digital world. Is that totally where the action is right now?
Yeah, I would say, especially in the magazine space. When I went to school, it was all about like getting, working for the New York Times. We used to study their articles and their op-eds. But now, because those opportunities aren't there, you kind of have to create them for yourself. So I would say with digital, it gives you a lot more freedom. So you're not necessarily as a journalist or an editor. You become an entrepreneur. You become a CEO. You become an exec. So it's a lot more freedom in that space where you can actually find what avenue fits you best. Because initially I thought I was going to be just a journalist. I wanted to be a fashion editor of a magazine, particularly Teen Vogue. That was my magazine of choice at the time. But as those jobs kept shrinking and the wanting of like black talent wasn't really there, because most of the spaces I was really in love with were mostly white spaces because I loved fashion, and that's what I saw was mostly white at the time and still is mostly, but you see more diversity now, thank goodness. But I would say definitely digital gives you that freedom and you could just tell a different story and narrative.
Where would you be without digital?
Me personally, nowhere. Because it's that important for my business. My whole platform lives online and through social media. And even with like the decision to go print, because that was something that we were deciding early on, financially it didn't make sense because a lot of the favorites such as Nylon, I go back to Teen Vogue, and even like really big ones like Essence, like they just stopped doing print. Essence is bringing it back, but it's just not as frequent as it used to be because it's just not as making as much money as it used to be.
Jet as well, right?
Jet, yeah. A lot of our big ones went out of business. You know, a lot of our big ones got purchased by other publishers, but then got purchased back, thank God. Sundial, or I should say the Shea Moisture CEO, he purchased Essence. But that being said, yeah, a lot of the media just kept disappearing, especially in print, especially in magazines.
Tony, what do you think about that?
No, I think it's definitely something that's coming into play because as we our company we do a lot of artist development, so we basically fish through our clientele from online aspects. So they may send us videos, they may send us music or digital things, and it's not just from the country that's located. It could be from the UK, it could be from America, because the company that I'm associated with is based in Canada. So I think the digital thing definitely helps us. It's better for overhead, and it just works. It just works better for us, especially with no capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's the bottom
If we
line.
really want to go to it, yes.
Okay, but talk to me about for the creator, the artist. Does it work for them as well?
Yes, it's tools that you can use for free. You can upload your music for free online. The thing is now you have well, not now, but SoundCloud. It's been a big platform for artists who could upload free music. They don't have to pay and get it to the world. So it definitely works as far as music and entertainment. You can upload videos. You can actually do a concert in your house, upload it, and give it to the world. Millions of people can actually be able to look at you from your own home. So it's a lot of different things you can do with the digital world, and it helps the creator, definitely.
Okay. Now, across the board, you can see the problems with shrinking black media. In New York, we had a real example of this when two urban radio stations existed for quite some time, KISS FM and WBLS. That's from back in the 1980s. Both played classic soul and R&B, and both had major community involvement, including talk shows. They had news. They were out in the community. But KISS FM lost its frequency in 2012 when the owner, MS Communications, leased it to Disney and ESPN. A lot of jobs were lost there. Voices were silenced. I should say that another station has moved into the space now with 103.9, but that was a major shift in ground here in New York City. At this point, do you think we're going to continue to see things like that in the radio business, and is that going to be a common occurrence?
Yes, I think so. The way the radio stations are forming is all gonna, lose its.
It's an interesting
muscle.
thing. Also, the other thing is that I think you're seeing fewer black faces in mainstream media.
Yeah,
And I wonder what happens to those people as far as online. Is there a place for them in the online digital world?
yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to marketing and promotion, as what
Absolutely.
Gabby, and her company does. It comes down to that. You have to market yourself. Now, if you are on a big $1 million company or a multi-million-dollar company and you end up, losing your job, or you should go on the internet, start your own. Those same
Absolutely.
fans will come to you. Like, you just have to know how to
Absolutely.
use this thing called the digital age now. And this computer, you just have to know. And this phone is a 24-hour thing.
Absolutely.
It never goes off. The sun is up other places when the sun is down. So this is a 24-hour thing now. That's what it turns into. This digital age turned work into 24 hours.
Yes.
You
And
don't close
worldwide.
down.
Wow.
I agree. And I think a good example of that is Roland Martin. After he lost his TV, I think TV1 gig, he went online, he made his own platform.
Lost a CNN gig.
Oh, okay, there
Right.
you go. So there you have it. So he's, I think, done a wonderful job of that.
Now, we were talking about like being an entrepreneur and ownership and that sort of thing. One of the things I came across when I was kind of looking at what was happening with the online world is who were the biggest sites. It's kind of odd for me because we're talking about African American community, black community here, and getting voices out. BET, of course, was the largest site. They have something like 13 million average monthly visits there. And between 2015 and 2016, that was like a 136% jump in people getting their news there. And the Huffington Post Black Voices also saw a 136% jump that same year. But is there something that's a little bit askew there with that? I mean, those aren't really black-owned businesses, are they?
Oh, I see. Yeah, they're not.
But the perception is that they're black owned.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to separate from what business people know and what the public understands, because businesses depend on the public to not be aware of what's going on. So when someone buys BET from Johnson, nobody has any idea they just, it's BET, so it's Black Entertainment, so it must be owned. Or the Diddy situation with Revolt. People think he owns it outright when it's not the case. So I just think it's all on the information and the knowledge that you may know of the business or the particulars.
Or in a sense, though, like to play devil's advocate, I feel like people know they're not Black owned, but they also know that there's a deficit. Like there's just not enough, you know what I mean, around. So they go to those sites because it's like, where else do we have? Like, what else do we have? So in a sense, even though they're not Black owned, yes, they are Black targeted. But that's also a slippery slope, because that can change at any moment, since we're not necessarily the ones in control, which isn't the best place, is not the best place not to be. But that being said, I think they know. I think with Diddy they don't, because that was the way they marketed Revolt, so they can get more watchers. They made it more of a prideful approach in their marketing plan. But when it comes to BET, like, we know that's owned by Viacom. And it comes to Huffington Post, Black Voices, we know that is a branch of Huffington Post. You know what I mean? A lot of the majors do that. Instead of necessarily investing in a company like my own, they'll just take a part of their company and they'll just section it off and say, like, for example, Refinery 29 unbothered. That's the Black portion of Refinery 29, which I think is a bit problematic, because you're still not necessarily associating us in the majority conversation. You're still sectioning us off, which in a sense still feels isolated, and I don't necessarily like that all the time. So,
how do you fix the problem of not having good, solid, strong local coverage of the African American community?
That's a hard one. I feel with that, and that's one of the most important ones, right? Because even though we see things on a very wide, countrywide level, especially when news hits, especially when someone goes missing, someone gets shot by the police, it's not necessarily always in your community. But I notice that a lot of us can relate to those things. Like the case, Eric Garner was really similar to Stephon Clark. You know what I mean? They're very similar cases. They're both in inner cities. And it's like, even though we're in different places, we have the same issues. So I feel with the local news, maybe we need to start supporting the ones that do go local. Because there are websites that are purely based on a borough, purely based on a city. Like Atlanta's really good at that. I feel like Atlanta has local news on lock. They have so many local magazines, newspapers, websites, because Atlanta just has that pride. They've always have. But I think we need to start supporting them, finding them, and giving them a bigger voice. Even myself, if I find one, I need to start promoting it, right? I have a lot of followers. My biggest city is New York City. If I find someone that's doing local news, I need to repost it. I need to be retweeting it. I need to, work out a deal where maybe we're sharing resources so I can help promote their content, since that's my biggest city.
Lots to think about there. Some good things happening in the digital world, but trouble out there for legacy newspapers, and it appears to be a lean time for some content creators. Still, there are some jobs available for people wishing to work in the mainstream media, and new jobs in digital. Thanks to our guests, the CEO of Meth Eater Magazine, Gabrielle Amani, and Tony Thompson, a vice president of A&R for NWYE, a Canadian-based entertainment company. Let's take a break, and I'll be back with some final thoughts. I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is Let It Rip. Hi, I'm Mike Gilliam, and the show is Let It Rip. We're coming to you from New York City with a viewpoint that goes beyond the headlines. We're talking politics, the economy, social unrest, the things that matter most to you. It's called Let It Rip. Come join us for the conversation. Welcome back to the special Black History Month edition of Let It Rip. I'm Mike Gilliam. We've been discussing the state of black media and some of what is happening in and around it. The landscape continues to change. The number of so-called legacy papers, those that began as print institutions, has dwindled. But thanks to young entrepreneurs, there are new digital publications that continue to provide the valuable service of informing our communities and giving us the stories that are important to us and a voice. It's a very good thing. Another good development is that older papers are attempting to make the move to digital, which can benefit them financially. saving the outlets and the jobs that employ many journalists of color. Another positive development is that there are people and organizations working to save and archive the rich black history that these papers have built since their inception in the 1800s. It's vital that that history be saved. It's also vital that we support the new digital media so that we maintain all that it has to offer now and in the future. The Byron Allen case is another important issue. The ramifications from that lawsuit are far-reaching. It's important for content providers and those trying to get a seat at the table where decisions are made about what we see on our TVs and other platforms. But it's also important because it could determine how discrimination cases in all areas move forward in the years to come. That case would affect all groups, and the hope is it does not damage the protections that are still needed in today's society. We'll learn more about that when the Supreme Court rules sometime this spring. It's a very important time for all of black media. That's it for now. I'm Mike Gilliam. Thanks for joining us for this special Black History Month edition of Let It Rip.